Hello students, today we are going to start with next part of reproduction in lower and higher animals. Subtopic there is 2.6 page 33 embryonic development. Zygote is formed as a result of syngamy and which is activated to divide, which starts dividing and forms an embryo. So that is a journey from a single cell zygote to an embryo, then to fetus, that we are going to study in this subtopic. There are phases according to the number of cells and some events. First, that is cleavage. It is the process of early mitotic division of the zygote into a hollow multicellular blastula. A blastula, that is a hollow multicellular thing that you can check, a blastocyst and the late blastocyst, a hollow muscular thing. It does not involve the growth of the daughter cells, and the cells formed by cleavage are called blastomeres. So these blastomeres, which are the cells of blastula, but at its initial stage. Since there is no growth phase between the cleavages, so the size of blastomeres will be reduced with the every successive cleavage. As in normal cell division, there is a gap phase in which there is a growth, or we can say a kind of size of the cell which grows in size because of the accumulation of some material in it, which is omitted here. That's why the number of cells are increases inside a kind of female gamete, that is aligning with zona pellucida. Since there is no growth phase between the cleavages, in size of blastomeres will be reduced with the every successive cleavage. As the size reduces, the metabolic rate increases because it needs more amount of energy just to keep dividing and redividing themselves. Subsequent cleavages are thus faster than the earlier one. This requires rapid replication of DNA and high consumption of oxygen. That's why they cannot store food material in it, and also their metabolic rate is high. How cleavage is formed? There is a process given in the points. 1. In human cleavage, it is holoblastic, that is the whole zygote gets divided. Holoblastic, that means which forms a kind of cavity in it. The cleavage planes may be longitudinal or meridional. Longitudinal or meridional, that is vertical we can say, and equatorial or horizontal. So it may be simply, we can understand it, it is maybe longitudinal or horizontal, or meridional, that means towards little bit south, and equatorial or exactly in the middle. It is radial and indeterminate, that means a fate of each blastomere is not predetermined. So it is radial, means at any side or any direction, and indeterminate, that means which is not equal for all the cells. So the first cleavage in the zygote is meridional, occurs at about 30 hours after fertilization, divides longitudinally into two blastomeres, one slightly larger than other, and the second cleavage is also longitudinal but at the right angle to the first one. So if we take the axis of these two longitudinal divisions, so which will shows a kind of plus sign, which occurs after 30 years of the first cleavage, that is the second cleavage. Then the third cleavage is horizontal. After third cleavage, the embryo is in its 8 cell stage. We can check here. first cleavage, which gives second 2 cell stage. Second cleavage gives 4 cell stage, and then after third cleavage 8 cell stage. By the third cleavage is horizontal, as the cleavages are going on, the young embryo are gradually being pushed towards the uterus. By the end of the 4th day after fertilization, embryo is a solid ball of 16 to 32 cells and extremely look like a mulberry, and which is termed as morula. Here 16 to 30 cell stage, that is morula. Morula shows cells of two types, that is smaller and clearer cells towards the outer side. Then inner cell mass of larger cells. Cells are compactly arranged till the formation of morula. The zona pellucida is retained around the embryo. That's why I already used that word, that is blastula is formed inside an egg or ovum, we can say. There is no change in the overall size of the zygote to morula, and zygote size is exact an ovum size. Morula reaches the isthmus and gains entry into the uterus by the end of day 4. Blastulation. Blastulation is the process of formation of hollow and multicellular blastocyst. The embryo, that is blastocyst, that enters the uterus remain floating in the uterine cavity for 2 to 4 days after its entry, that is till the end of the 7th day after fertilization. Outer layer of the cells seen in the morula now form the layer called trophoblast, and cells from the trophoblast begin to absorb the glycogen-rich uterine milk from the uterus of the mother. So exact nutrition for that growing zygote into the embryo, which gets from the mother's uterus. The blastocyst doubles in size from 0.15 mm to 0.30 mm, with more fluid entering inside the blastocyst. Cavities form. These outer cells become flat and are called trophoblast cells, since they help only in absorbing nutrition from the developing embryo. The inner larger cells, that is inner mass of cells, that is mast cells, which is termed as embryoblast, which we can check here in the diagram. And these embryoblast cells, which are proper embryonic cells, and trophoblast cells are just for the nutrition, which provides nutrition, which absorbs nutrition for the developing embryo. Trophoblast cells in contact with the embryonal cells knob are called cells of Robber. At this stage, the blastocyst shows polarity. So, the side with the inner cells mass is called the embryonal end, and the side opposite to it is the embryonic end. By the end of the 7th day of the blastocyst is fully formed. It is now ready to implantation and gastrulation. So the function of zona pellucida is to prevent the implantation of the embryo at an abnormal site. It does not expose the sticky and phagocytic trophoblast till it reaches the implantation site, that is within the uterus. Hence, zona pellucida is now ruptures. So, zona pellucida of an ovum which remains with the zygote from its zygote stage to morula, then blastula, and when embryo cells starts forming, it ruptures till it get reaches to the uterus. Monozygotic twins are produced from the same zygote. So that is, a single zygote divides to give rise to embryos. They are usually identical. And dizygotic twins, which are formed when female releases 2 eggs at a time and both gets fertilized by 2 different sperms, and that's why that results into the formation of 2 zygotes, but they are not identical to each other. Eventually they are 2 separate and genetically different embryos. That's why they are twins, but they are not identical one. That is dizygotic twins. Implantation. The blastocyst, after its formation, gets implanted or embedded into the endometrium of the uterus. This process usually begins on 7th day after fertilization, that we have seen earlier, that is from zygote to morula, morula to blastula. So after blastula, implantation takes place. Simultaneously, gastrulation takes place inside the blastula. The embryo usually implants in the region of the fundus of the uterus. So this is after 7 day, and at the end of the 10th day, that we can say, which embryo gets embedded in the endometrium. So this may be 7th or 8th day. In the process of embryo attaches itself by its embryonic pole, which is close to the endometrium. Trophoblast cells of the animal pole have the power to stick to the uterine wall. Rapid division of the trophoblast cells lying against the embryonal lobe, which takes place, it results in the formation of 2 distinct layers, that is syncytiotropoblast and cytotrophoblast. The outer layer, that is syncytiotropoblast or syncytium, that means a layer of protoplasm with many nuclei, which gives out processes which extensively invade the endometrium. So here we can say so many nucleus which are filled in a cavity or a single cell, we can say, with more amount of cytoplasm. So because of that more amount of plasma in a cell, which forms a kind of finger out structure, fingers like coming out structure, and extensively invade the endometrium, which just little bit we can say penetrate the endometrium and rooted themselves. The lytic enzyme secreted by the trophoblast ruptures the endometrial cells, thereby making a burrow into which the embryo begins to get implanted. By the end of the 10th day, the whole embryo is deeply embedded in the endometrium. That is the completion of process of implantation. The inner layer of cells is called cytotrophoblast, that is the cells with defined membrane. These cells retain in their cell boundaries. Next part, that is gastrulation. It is the process of formation of gastrula from the blastocyst. In gastrula stage, there is showing of the rate of cleavage or divisions, but there are 2 important events that takes place actively. Differentiation of blastomere. This process results in the formation of 3 germinal layers, that is ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm, from the cells of the embryoblast. Morphogenic movements, different types of movements to reach their defined place in the embryo. So gastrulation begins in the embryoblast cells on about 8th day after fertilization, so that we have studied in the implantation. At the same time, these both processes takes place, implantation and gastrulation. Gastrulation inside the blastula and implantation, that is outside the blastula. Gastrulation begins in the embryoblast cells on about 8th day after fertilization. cells on the free end of the inner cell's mass called hypoblast. So these hypoblasts, which are primitive endoderm, become flattened, start dividing and grows downwards towards the blastosole, that is the cavity of blastocyst. This layer called endoderm is first to differentiate and grows within the blastocells, forms a cavity, a sac, which is called yolk sac. The remaining cell of the inner cell mass in contact with the cells of robber cells are called epiblasts, that are primary ectoderm cells. Both layers forms a flat bilaminar embryonal disc. These both cells, the layers of these cells, actually unite to form an embryonal disc. After formation of endoderm, the second layer to be differentiated is ectoderm. Here we can check this diagram. Here exactly the ectoderm which is formed and the endoderm which is formed separate, mesoderm which is formed in between, and these unite to form a disc-like structure. After formation of endoderm, the second layer to be differentiated is the ectoderm. Cells of the epiblast, that are the periphery, divide and move in such a way that they enclose the amniotic cavity. So the pyramidal cells of the disc towards the amniotic cavity form embryonal ectoderm. The roof of amniotic cavity is lined by, here the amniotic cavity exactly here, and this amniotic cavity's roof, which actually forms the epiblast, that cells of epiblast that divide and redivide. So this epiblast can be termed as primary ectoderm, and the floor of this cavity has the embryonal disc. The pyramidal cells of the disc towards the amniotic cavity from the embryonal ectoderm, and roof of amniotic cavity is lined by amniogenic cells. These cells divide and redivide to form the amnion. Amnion is an extra embryonic membrane that surrounds and that protects the embryo. As a result, all these changes, the bilaminar embryonic disc is positioned in between amniotic cavity and yolk sac. Actual gastrulation occurs about 15 days after fertilization, in which the bilaminar embryonic disc is transformed into trilaminar embryonic disc, that is with the three germ layers, ectoderm, endoderm, mesoderm. This transformation, this change occurs by the division, rearrangement and migration of the cells of epiblast. So epiblast, which are the lining cells of the two cavities of yolk sac and the amniotic cavity, it begins with the formation of primitive straight and shallow groove on the surface, which is called primitive groove, and this straight progresses from the posterior to anterior end of embryo. From site of primitive streak, a third layer of cells called mesoderm, which extends between the ectoderm and endoderm, and the anterior end of primitive groove communicates with yolk sac by an aperture called blastopore, which is termed as the future anus. So here the cavity, these two cavities, amniotic cavity and the yolk sac, there is a small pore between them, which is the future anus, and which can be termed as blastopore. Embryonal disc now has differentiated into three layers: ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm, and further process after gastrulation which takes place, which is organogenesis, formation of organs takes place in the embryo. Ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm. These three germinal layers, where ectoderm cells, which gives rise to epidermis of skin, hair, nails, sweat glands, salivary glands, mammary glands, lacrimal glands, sebaceous glands, cornea, lens, retina, conjunctiva, nasal epithelium, enamel of teeth, integral of internal or external ear, foregut, hindgut, adrenal, medulla, anterior and posterior pituitary, pineal gland, and whole entire nervous system. That means we can say the outer layer of the body. Mesoderm, that is the middle layer, we can say, forms all types of muscles except cardiac and ciliary muscles. Ciliary muscles only. Connective tissue, dermis of skin, adrenal cortex, heart, blood vessels, lymphatic vessels, middle ear, dentine of teeth, means the inner root of the teeth, urinary and reproductive ducts, gonads, kidneys, sclera, and choroid of the eye. Endoderm develops into the epithelium of midgut, that is totally inner side, glands of stomach of and intestine, tongue, tonsils, lungs, trachea, bronchi, larynx, urinary bladder, vagina, liver, pancreas, thyroid gland, parathyroid gland, thymus gland, eustachian tube, epithelium of urethra, lining of middle ear. Here we have finished a proper term, that is gastrulation. Next part, that is the pregnancy. Before that, there is an extra information about stem cells. These are undifferentiated somatic cells of multicellular organism. They are capable of giving rise to many more cells of the same type of. They can also differentiate into the other type of cells. Bone marrow cells, blood stem cells, cord cells or umbilical cord cells are examples of stem cells. They can be used in the treatment of Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, diabetes, leukemia, arthritis. Especially to study the genetic structure or genetic pool of any organism, these stem cells are useful. Now there are some laboratories which actually provides a kind of lockers, which avails lockers to store these stem cells and also umbilical cord of a baby, which can be helpful in future to solve this kind of complex genetical diseases, genetical disorders of that baby in future.